versus email, the one that you said. What was the email about?
Pretty much it's, informing us on the number of meetings, that they were all videotaped, asking to protect the integrity of the committee when a committee makes a recommendation that.
I was hoping he maybe had some updates in regards to
Oh,
when
no,
the
no.
study was done, and he doesn't. Okay, so that's something that I don't know if the board should consider if we're going to take an action now or hold off to figure out and get more details from the city regarding the historical value. But we did have some heavy opposition. We did have some people that were in support of the project, just in all fairness, but there was majority was opposition surrounding the property. I think there were a few. I don't recall the number, such a long time, but I do remember that there were a few.
What was the question? How many meetings?
The number.
Number of how many were in support of the project. I think you were there also. This was many months ago, like
Yeah.
6 months ago.
May I offer an effort?
There was, I think, 1, 2.
There were a couple.
There were no residents who were in favor. There were no neighbors who were in favor.
So we can either take a,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
How many people were against it?
number, I would say
Petitions and everything, we add all that up?
from the petitions alone, Mr. Esparza, you can, probably, if you don't mind helping me out here, I think there were about 50 people from the petitions alone that were directly affected from this project, that were directly opposing it. So,
No one who is directly affected supported it. We don't know who those people were who were for it. They have no connection to the neighborhood.
that was one. So, the concept itself, if we do decide to move this forward of the project, yeah, I'll entertain, are there any questions from the board? Maybe I can recall some of the questions, or if we can, like I said, I would hate to postpone it again for another month because it's been an ongoing issue and the community has a right to an answer. So, yes,
Nick?
Yeah, I had a question. When you say if we move forward with this project?
no, if we move forward with this motion,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Well, I think Lily had a question.
No, I want to make a comment on the motion. That's what we're doing, right? Good evening and happy new year to all. My comment is to move forward with the motion, and support the motion. Committee has done their work, and I don't think we need to keep our stakeholders, continuing to come to the meetings if they've already attended multiple multiple meetings and have stated their position. It's mostly the stakeholders, neighbors who, we have a lot more opposition than support. So I would say to do what's right and go with the constituents.
Donna? And then Sasha? Or, I didn't see it. I was just doing this closely.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I just have a couple of questions that, maybe you can answer this for me. Okay, so what I got from just like the discussions, it's going to be six units, which is condos.
Forgive me, I made an error. It's 9.
It's 9 units. Okay, so it's 9 units. Does anyone know what the square footage is on that property? Like, just so I need to just kind of like mentally get an idea.
I don't know the square footage because this is, they want to do a smart lot ordinance. So it would be less square footage than the current law. And, as areas, when you put this on some apartment complexes, it's a single resident property lot.
Okay.
Just one last thing. We never did prepare a community impact statement, just for the record. LA 32 did not prepare a community impact statement regarding the historical value of the location. So we may want to amend this motion. I don't recall.
So this will give us the okay to prepare.
Thank you.
I call the question.
You ready? That's it? No more board discussion? You have to vote on voting.
Forward, then, we can't stay stuck on it, we gotta move forward. So I call the question.
Okay.
we're gonna go ahead. The motion has been moved by Sasha,
Yes, and second by Victor.
seconded by Victor. The motion is that the LA 32 Neighborhood Council does not support the development located at 5639 East Huntington Drive North and recommends LA 32 prepares a community impact statement on the historical value of the location. And we're ready to take a vote.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 yes. Any noes? Abstentions? 1, 2. Motion passes.
3.
Oh, where's 3?
On
Okay. Okay, motion. 9 yes, 0 noes, abstentions 3.
903, motion passes.
Did we all vote?
Who didn't vote? You're abstaining?
Okay,
Who else didn't vote?
that's why I was.
That's it?
So the new count is 9 yes, 0 noes, abstention 4.
904, motion passes. And so a community impact statement on the historical value of the location will be prepared. We'll have to decide by who. And let's move on. I'm Lanny. It's online. The community impact statements are prepared. It's an online form that we'll use.
But does it have to be posted for so many days?
The community impact statement? I don't believe so, but I'll check.
Because the land use committee came with this motion, would they be the ones to
Yes.
organize?
Right, and although I'm the land use chair now, I wasn't at all the meetings, and I know you were one of the community impact statement representatives, Angela, so we can work together on it if you want.
I need to catch up on
Okay.
the project and remember to write it, so we have to share the responsibility.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and inform the board when that's done. Moving on to item 7, discussion and possible action. The motion is that the LA 32 Neighborhood Council extend the deadline for NPG applications to 11/17/14. This motion was previously approved back in October by the Budget and Finance Committee, and I believe we do need to amend it at this time. And I'll let Michelle speak on that as chair of the Budget and Finance.
I would like to make a motion to amend, to extend the deadline of the MPG applications that are being turned in to January 26, 2015. Victor seconds it.
Is there any public comment on the amendment of the motion?
Let's comment on the item.
On the amendment right now?
Just on the amendment.
Board discussion on the amendment? The amendment is to change the date from 11/17/14 to 1/26/15. That was the original motion, but we need to amend it now. Okay, we're ready to vote on amending the motion?
For which day?
Change the date to 1/26/15.
Why are we extending it to January 26th?
What,
That's a question on the amendment. That is the amendment. So you have a question on the amendment. Why that date? Well, just because we're still in exhaustive effort, so we can't hear any of these, we can't review any of these applications, can't be approved anyway. I think we're anticipating that we'll be off after January.
Yeah.
To extend the date to January.
But there's no motion, there's no movement going
No,
on.
we're not voting on
To continue to take in applications.
Do we have one?
We do have applications. Okay, all in favor of amending the motion?
We still haven't heard public comment.
No, he has a comment on the actual motion. We're on the amendment.
You don't-
No, that'll be after we approve the amendment. Okay, all in favor of approving the amended motion to read that the LA 32 Neighborhood Council extend the deadline for NPG applications to 1/26/15.
Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, Sasha was out of the room for the vote. Noes, abstentions. So the vote is 11-1.
Is it 11:01?
Abstain, Sasha.
So Sasha's not here.
He's right. He's right. 11-0, motion passes to amend the motion. So now let's go ahead and read the amended motion. We have discussion and possible action on the new motion that the LA 32 Neighborhood Council extend the deadline for NPG applications to 1/26/15. Public comment, Mr. Johnson.
You need the microphone?
No, I can see it pretty good. Let me, once again, Scott Johnson. The number one priority of most neighborhood councils is your outreach, okay? The amount of MPG money you're sending out should be secondary to the ultimate goal of expanding the outreach of this body. Fortunately, in this council district, there's other entities that people can go to for money. Let me use a couple of organizations for example. I just recently secured a document from the city clerk's office which denotes all the general purposes funds allocations made in this council district to organizations for the 2013-2014 calendar year, fiscal year. One, for example, Dick, your buddies with the Stallion came away with $13,000 in grant money from Councilman Weezer last year, okay? And our friend over here now who worked for Councilman Weezer, her organization, the Bicentennial Committee, got $20,000. Now, we want to be, there's always a principle called share the wealth. There's other organizations, they may not have access to those type of, to be able to get those funds, but let's prioritize what does the neighborhood council need to do to grow its outreach, and also do to work with those organizations that may need that little seed money in order to grow, okay? Kind of like this paper here. This is a perfect example of outreach. 30,000 people read this paper, okay? So if you're going to invest in outreach, and you want to invest in MPG grant, definitely you're going to get a big return on your dollar allocation for something like this. So let's make sure when we're investing these funds that organizations that are really in need of it get it. And also too, let's let them know that they can go to the council office to get funding up for their programs. Thanks.
Mr. Manzano, yeah, the motion is to extend the deadline, not how we're gonna spend the money, so let's please keep it on the item.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Anthony Manzano, and what I'm seeing here is an opportunity which is on the agenda, stakeholders to speak to you guys and to actually take a vote on extending the deadline. I believe it was about 6 months ago when I mentioned when this first issue even came about to the board, there should be no deadline. This is the proof and indicators that I'm seeing right now that the errors that I foreseen 4, 5, 6 months ago, just by establishing the deadline, we're going to create this position. So basically the whole way to alleviate this is just strike the deadline, plain and simple. Because all stakeholders have an opportunity to request for neighborhood purposes grants at all times of the year. What about the Loomis Festival? What about the Kite Festival? What about Woodrow Wilson High School, where the kids came and asked to be on the agenda today, and they're not even on the agenda because the Wilson High School band asked, please put us on the agenda next month, but obviously they're not on here. It goes back to the neighborhood purposes grant because the schools, the parks, and the nonprofits will all be seeking funds from you guys. So the bottom line is, do not have a deadline. Because I think someone already asked, why January 26th? Well, here's the next question. What happens after January 26th? There's another deadline. And if they don't make that, well then you guys would extend the next one, and extend the next one. So all this business that you guys are doing, and even me expressing to you guys, look, turn on the little light in the brain. 4 or 5 months ago, this very moment right here could have been resolved. just by eliminating the deadline inclusion on the neighborhood purposes grant. This is funding that you guys are honored to the community. I would hope that maybe the committees would do more work than those nonprofits, but spend the money for the community. And there's really no need, so I would ask maybe someone else to amend this and just strike the extension, like this, what is it called? The deadlines, there you go, the deadlines, thank you. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Any other public comment? The public board?
Point of clarification, not too sure what Buddy he's talking about. The last time I've been involved with Stallions was when I was 8.
Were you a stallion?
Yeah, I was 8.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Do we have any comment on the item? Board?
Yes, I guess the city agenda was asking, why the extension,
Why the extension or why the deadline?
the deadline, sorry.
You want to speak on that?
Because we keep, exhausted efforts isn't happening, so we keep